Hello, everyone. Welcome to Refocus on Happiness. 5 steps to get unstuck from any life challenge within minutes. Who this is for? This is for busy entrepreneurs who feel overwhelmed and burnt out and want to get their edge back and want to live life at their full potential on a daily basis. This is so key here, regardless of the challenges they are experiencing now. Who this tool is also for. It's for successful men and women who want more energy, more clarity in their lives, and want to live life at an enjoyable pace. Because progress at an enjoyable pace is happiness. And also for overachievers who know the quality of their life ultimately comes down to the quality of their relationships, and therefore want to take their relationships from average to freaking amazing within just a few weeks. Essentially becoming your own one-stop practical psychologist for life. So in the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about a few things. 1, how to get unstuck within minutes, regardless of the challenges you are experiencing. 2, how to reinvigorate and supercharge all areas of your life. How to get your confidence back. How to stop self-sabotage. How to reduce stress and get your health back on track, and how to get the energy to push forward towards your goals and dreams and take your life to the next freaking level. We're talking about next level stuff here, okay? So here's my promise to you. 5 steps to get unstuck from any life challenge within minutes. So first, some house rules here. This is not a magic trick. This takes discipline. You got to really want it. Most of the people I work with are in their 50s or 60s even. Why do you think that is? That's because they've had enough of of pain, of frustration, of overwhelm, and they're willing to work really, really hard. So you got to really want it. You got to be at the point of, you know what? I've had enough. This stops today. Not another day, not another hour. This changes now. That's what's going to get you to the quote-unquote brain gym. You got to be fully committed to being consistent and persistent with this conditioning process, because just like in the classic workout sense, no matter how great a workout plan is, there is no workout that creates incredible results unless you are consistent over a period of time. Hashtag brain gym would be very appropriate here. And indecisive people will not get results from this new way of living. You're either in or you're out on this one. You got to really want it. You must be clear on your vision, what you want, and why you want it. You got to have a reason to show up to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, essentially. That's what I'm essentially telling you here. Otherwise, you're just a dabbler. So does this sound like you? Has this life challenge been weighing you down or challenges? Have they been weighing you down for months or even years? And yet there still seems to be no end in sight. This is one of my favorites here. Do you secretly hope you're going to magically stumble upon a book that has all the answers you're looking for? But this search has been going on for months or even years. Another big one, are your well-meaning friends and family draining the hell out of you as well as themselves with endless advice and coaching? And are you trying to fix this by staying busy, but you know secretly this solves nothing? And most importantly, the reason why you're here, does it seem like there is no end in sight to this never-ending Groundhog Day that you have been living in for months or even years or even decades? Here's the real problem. The real problem is you have not made the shifts. Because once you make them, you're going to wake up feeling excited for the day, regardless of the challenges in your life. You're going to stop feeling that dread when you think about all your financial responsibilities, and instead love the fact that you have the energy to make your financial dreams a reality. And you'll have more energy to make great memories with your friends and family instead of being tense and agitated and in your head the whole time thinking about all the stresses in your life. You'll be able to get back in the ballgame and enjoy yourself. And yeah, you might have future challenges in your life, but you will never, ever again be paralyzed by fear or doubt. You will know once and for all you truly have the skill and conditioning every day to handle it. Now, really quickly about who I am here. Since 2012, I've been the coaching and operations director for one of the most well-known relationship coaching companies in the world. I positively impacted the lives of thousands of men and women, helping them take their lives to the next level. And my main specialty is hacks and strategies for experiencing next levels as far as in love, health, and wealth, happiness, And that's really what I'm going to bring to you here today, okay? So let's talk about discovering the 5 shifts, okay? There are 5 key shifts you must make if you want to take control of the 2 most valuable resources in your life. You better write this down here because this is the foundation for everything you want in this life. They are energy and emotional states. Think about it. If you are in full control, truly in full control every day, regardless of what's happening, of your energy and how you feel, your emotional states, you won the freaking lottery. That is the foundation for everything you want. That is the fuel. And if you're struggling, if you're listening to this, that is what you're missing. That is what is not being filled up in your gas tank. So I'm going to walk you through all 5 of them on this session, those 5 shifts to get you those 2 most critical states for assets for what you're looking for in this lifetime. First one, being happy is a skill. It's not a concept, okay? Now, here's the truth. A lot of people I speak to think they've been happy in their lives and like, oh, I used to be this way and I'm not anymore. Look, feeling peaceful when you're in a freaking monastery or being happy when you're in Disney World, that takes no skill. That takes no effort. It's very easy to be happy when you're in Italy on vacation. The real question is this: can you feel awesome even while in the midst of a challenge? If you got that skill, then you really do have a skill. Now, continue with the truth that happiness is a skill here. One of the conventional wisdoms out there says you're going to be happy when you accomplish your goals. That is complete garbage. Because here's the truth. No matter what you're going through, even right now, every day has the potential to be the best in your life. And most people are quite simply, frankly, oblivious to this power. And hence, they're unable to free themselves from their emotional prison, the emotional matrix. Most of us are not taught the actual skill, the actual practical, applicable skill on how to choose the thoughts and are unaware that you have the skills to make yourself happy every day. You weren't taught this in school. And here's the other problem. Most coaches do not teach this properly. They'll tell you to, just enjoy life and disconnect yourself from the outcome. They'll tell you concepts. But what good is a concept if they can't actually teach you to apply it? I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing a bunch of conceptual mumbo jumbo. Bottom line is, tell me how to do it. Because those people use meaningless cliches and platitudes without teaching you the actual practical process. And lastly, you're taught when you're growing up, to accomplish goals, that you'll be happy one day when you have these accomplishments. But goals are simply an excuse to feel an emotion that you can create any time you want. You might not know how to do it, but it is there for the taking. You don't have to wait to accomplish your goals to create the feelings of joy and happiness. I mean, think about it here. Is there not anything in your life? You really should write this down here. And if you haven't taken out a pen and paper, I highly suggest you do that now. You answer this question for me here. Is there anything you've done in your life, anything that you did for anything less than the simple reason of how you believed you would feel if you accomplished that goal? I know what the answer is. There is not a freaking thing you've done without that in mind. You're doing things because of how you believe you will feel when you accomplish that thing. Well, I have news for you. A car doesn't actually make you feel amazing. It's you that makes you feel amazing. It is a mechanism within you. Your thoughts control your feelings control your actions, and your actions ultimately control your life. They're the results. And those results, how you interpret it, the way you actually control your own command center, the way you think and feel, that is ultimately what is going to decide whether you continue a cycle of productive thinking and feeling or what I like to refer to as emotional Groundhog Day. Up to you. Happiness is a skill. So here's a question here, and I want you to really think about this here. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm here to bring you to the common sense corner. You really need to write this down here. What if you were a professional athlete and you lost in embarrassing fashion on national TV? For example, what if you were a professional tennis player ranked 100 in the world and you played against Serena Williams or Roger Federer and they embarrassed you on national TV? You with me so far? Now, what if after this embarrassment, and by the way, not because you made mistakes, but because they're so much better than you, what if you found out, unfortunately, after this fiasco, you're going to play that same person, Roger Federer or Serena Williams, again in 30 days? How do you think you would feel about that upcoming match with your current skill set? Think you might feel nervous? How about scared? How about anxious? Here's my question for you. You really need to pay attention to this here. Do you think there's any counselor or therapist on the freaking planet who could alleviate those emotions from you without actually teaching you the skill that you need to win? Unless someone actually upgraded your forehand, your backhand, your serve, unless someone actually told you the mechanics to beat this individual, do you think they could just talk you through it and say, everything's going to be okay, just be in the moment? You think that's going to work? Absolutely not. But if you've been going to a therapist or counselor for a while, now you maybe are starting to understand why you're still having this issue. You need to address it at the core. So what makes you think you can actually just talk your way to the winner's circle? If you're having problems in a certain area because you don't have the skill, I don't care how many conversations you have with any counselor or therapist, unless they actually address the mechanics, the skill set, good luck. But that's not going to work out very well. So I want to be clear here. This isn't about being happy 100% of the time. That's impossible. You're a human being. You will always be vulnerable potentially to things such as fear, sadness, anger, those emotions. But you don't have to stay there. I'm going to show you emotional resiliency. What that means is when you feel an emotion, you don't have to stay there. You could be minutes away from feeling freaking amazing, okay? But I want to be clear here. Just like in any kind of conditioning, you got to warm up. That's really what I'm teaching here. But I want you to be aware, it's not about being happy 100% of the time. It's about having a skill to get back to how you want to feel every day. And the truth is, challenges and stresses actually makes it possible for you to evolve. Solving problems can actually be an incredible source of joy and fulfillment. Maybe not the way you're looking at it currently, but there is another way that can be conditioned into your mind. So what if you could feel incredible 80 to 90% of the day, every day? How would that affect your communications with your friends and family? How would that impact your health and wealth? What do you think that would do to get you unstuck? And how much would that be worth to you? How much more of your life do you think you could make the most of in love, health, and wealth if you stopped showing up as a shell of you and were showing up regularly as the fullest potential of who you could be? Happiness is a skill. Hopefully that makes that beyond clear, as well as why what you've been trying has not been working. Happiness is not a concept. You can't talk your way to happiness. It needs to be conditioned. Number 2, don't let your brain fall asleep at the wheel. Now, there's a conventional wisdom out there that says that time heals all wounds. That is complete crap. The reality is it's not that time heals all wounds. That time heals an untrained brain. For most people who are going through a life challenge, they spend such amount of time in their head trying to figure out what went wrong, engage in draining as hell conversations that solve nothing. Meanwhile, each day, their brain just accepts a small smidgen of their reality of their situation. So the illusion is that it took time to get over it. But the reality is it took the brain a long time to process all those draining as hell conversations and all that pain. It doesn't have to be that hard, okay? Getting over a life challenge doesn't have to be a slow, arduous, and painful process. There is actually a process. You can train your brain to accelerate the process to, quote, get the lesson so you can finally get your life back on track and get unstuck and enjoy yourself. Now, have you ever had an experience where someone cut you off on the road and several hours later you're still thinking about that person? Isn't that crazy? The person's not even in front of you anymore. You can't even curse them out or talk to them or tell them how dangerous they're being. They don't care. They're not thinking about you, but yet you're still rehearsing it in your brain. Doesn't that sound insane? So here's a question for you. If that's ever happened to you before, where you're still rehearsing those emotions of the past hours later, I want you to think about this for a second. What if before that person cut you off, that person you were angry at for hours and hours and hours, what if before that person cut you off, what if you'd won $1 million or $10 million and then they cut you off? Do you think you'd still give a crap about that person? No. You'd be so happy. You'd be like, wow, clearly they have someone to go that I don't have to go to. My life is amazing. You would be thinking about how to spend your $10 million. You wouldn't care. Understand? That is giving you a glimpse of how with the right conditioning process, you can actually drive your own command center. Now, if you can relate to this, you now know the difference between when you're an autopilot versus when you are actually truly the captain of your ship or your own command center. Here's the truth. If you've taken years to get over a breakup or another emotional issue or business issues or anything, you are not in command of your command center. That is absolute proof that you're just rehearsing because you are wired for negativity. Literally, you are biologically hardwired for negative thoughts and feelings. If you're still rehearsing your business partner who did something bad to you, or a client who wasn't so good, or a relationship that didn't go the way you wanted to go, and this happened months or years ago, you're on autopilot, my friend. So how much time and money do you spend this week obsessing and rehearsing negative thoughts and emotions were essentially rooted in the past? Now, last thing here, most people, when they wake up immediately on autopilot. They're just reacting to the needs of the outside world, emotional triggers. And here's a problem. When you live this way, resuming an emotional Groundhog Day, and you're spending all your energy on these things from the past right out of the gate, you're mismanaging energy. If you're using all your energy there, what energy is left to create a new beautiful future for yourself, to recreate a new destiny? You're just wasting your own resources here. Now, I know conceptually this makes sense to you, but if you can't do it, that's a problem. That's what I'm here to show you today, an actual practical way to do it. So it's not a concept for you. So in the meantime, how much money and time have you wasted numbing yourself with food, alcohol, while you're stressed, cigarettes, drugs of any kind, while immersed in the motions of the past, trying to figure out these life challenges, being stuck? Okay. Now we're on to shift number 3, or what I call pillar number 1. Creating inspired energy is a skill. It's not a concept. It's not something you hope for. It is a skill. You can wire it in. The conventional wisdom that you need to hope for inspiring moments, that's not correct. That is conventional wisdom garbage. Here, I'll prove it to you here. Have you ever found yourself totally exhausted, ready to go to sleep, but then out of nowhere, you have a thought that inspires you, and then seemingly out of nowhere, energy just rushes through your body, courses through your veins, and magically you have the, quote, inspired energy to work all night long on your idea? Has that ever happened to you? Now, as my busy entrepreneur friends I'm speaking to here, I know all you guys has happened to. That's how you guys are driven this way, right? You're not here for that purpose specifically, but I'm proving to you that you actually can create these things as skills. So you can turn it on, turn off, not be driven by overwhelm. You can actually create mechanisms, wired mechanisms, so you can actually live the way you want to live and show up the way you want to show up and not be driven by the things from the past. But anyway, here I'm showing you actual inspired energy is a skill. Now, what if you could create this inspirational energy on command every day, regardless of what's happening in the world? You might be a busy entrepreneur running a big company, and all of a sudden you have a client that's really a pain in the butt, or a consultant that's not doing their job, whatever it is, and you're just obsessed with that person. What if you could learn the skill to create that inspired energy regardless of what that person is doing to you? What if you were able to show up as the fullest iteration of yourself rather than be consumed by the challenges you're currently dealing with? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? That is absolutely yours for the taking. Now watch this. I'll give you a last little scenario here just to make my point home here so you understand what's possible. And by the way, just the fact that I'm opening up your eyes here and you're understanding why your way has not been working, and you're understanding why those models you've tried before, counselors, therapists, various coaches, or other things have not gotten you where you're looking, what you're looking for, that alone is paving the way for you to have success here in the future. Now, continuing on my little topic here, imagine you had lunch with, say, like Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett had lunch with you, and he said, "Hey, so-and-so, here's a little technique you could do. You can make $10 million this week. Now, for you to fully implement this strategy, you're only going to be able to sleep 2 hours a night." Now, remember, this is Warren Buffett here. What if Warren Buffett had this lunch with you, gave you this technique? Now, remember, this is Warren Buffett, right? And what if after he was done, you thought about it and you said to yourself, "Oh my God, that's going to work." If you knew making $10 million in 1 week was a certainty, do you think you might, quote unquote, find the inspiration to work and do what's required, only sleep 2 hours a night for just 1 week? Of course you would. You'd make it work because your success is inevitable. Okay? So inspired energy is a skill. Just because you don't have it doesn't mean that is not potentially yours. Okay, next shift. This is a massive one for you guys. How you communicate with yourself is a skill. Most people today, again, so many conventional wisdoms here I'm breaking for you guys. Most people focus on communication with others. What good is communication with others if your communication with yourself sucks? Wise man once said, if you're not strong on the inside, you can't be strong on the outside. If you're your own worst enemy, I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to show up resourceful and have the kind of communications you have to have if you can't get out of your own head? Okay? So that is a real skill that needs to be transferred to you if you really want to take your life to the next level. Your communication with yourself is the most important communication skill you will ever learn, period, end of story. How you communicate with yourself is the real determining factor on how well you communicate with others. Even when I started in the relationship coaching industry specifically, I mean, it's funny, like a lot of these coaches, they give a lot of types of external communication techniques. But, when I speak to people today, I say, hey, what good is these, external coaching communication techniques if when you're in front of that person, and by the way, whether this is relationships or business applications, if your emotions get the better of you and you can't stop yourself from being angry, sad, fearful, and that person's right in front of you, that person where you need to have a resourceful conversation, what good is that skill if you fall apart emotionally when you're in front of them? Zero. That's what I'm saying. Most of the stuff out there doesn't address from the core. Your emotional states, your energy, that is the foundation. How you communicate with yourself is the real determining factor on how you communicate with others. Okay, and by the way, I'm going to throw this out here now really quickly here. I might repeat this again a little bit later, but just so you know, for your own, you should write this down again, by the way. Any person you work with, right? Anyone can really deliver. They need to answer these few things. You should write this down here. 1, who coached you? If your coach learned what they did from YouTube, that's kind of a problem. They should have been coached by the world's best. I love when people ask me that question because I take a lot of pride in who coached me in person. Number 2, how many people have you done this for? How many people have you transferred this skill set to? If your coach responds to you 1 or 2 or whatever, that's not good. You want a real track record. I've done this for over 1,000 people. Okay? 3, how long before the outcome? If your coach or counselor or consultant can't give you a defined number of how when they can deliver that outcome, that doesn't do you any good, does it? For me, I'll deliver this in 6 weeks. You do what I'm laying out here, 6 weeks to get your outcome. How about that? Now, you need to start thinking of yourself as a pro athlete in this sport of life. Pro athletes don't go to a local tennis pro. If you're a tennis player, you don't go to a local tennis pro. That local tennis pro doesn't know how to get you to Wimbledon. If they did, they wouldn't be there. Understand? In the history of mankind, no one has ever gone to the Wimbledon finals, or modern man has gone to Wimbledon finals, the NBA championships, or the big stage in theater, performing arts without a top-notch creme de creme mentor. You got to start thinking of yourself that way, because if you're not getting what you're looking for in this life, you need to step up your game as far as the mentors, the coaches you're working with. You want to be the best? Work with the best. Okay? Now, does your life demonstrate a true belief in yourself? Do you invest in yourself? Do your actions demonstrate yourself as someone who truly is strong on the inside? If you're going to, if you're making your decisions based on if it's affordable or if it's convenient, you're not making decisions of someone who's going to get to the winner's circle, right? Again, you want to get to Wimbledon? Don't work with a local tennis coach. If you're half-assing it and doing half-baked solutions, that's why you're having a hard time here. Yeah, you might be very successful in certain areas, but you're listening to me here for a reason. You're missing certain things. Do it right the first time. Even Tony Robbins 101 is work with the creme de creme, the mentors who have the skills at the highest level. Okay? So are you working with those people? If you're not, that's why you're having still a little bit of a hard time here. Now, as far as applying this shift, the formula is not complicated, but it does require the guidance of an expert, the support of an expert, someone who knows how to get you there. That's what I'm doing here for you here. If you don't have me kind of taking you step by step, how the hell are you going to get there? You can watch YouTube from now till 2032. Doesn't matter. How do you know if you're doing it right unless that expert is guiding you, being that feedback mechanism for you? So like here, what I just went through for you it's not complicated, but you can't do it by yourself. You need someone who knows to be that feedback mechanism so you can make sure you're actually implementing it correctly, because how do you know if you're doing it right without that person? It takes a trained expert to find those internal communication gaps and then fill in the void. Your thoughts control your feelings control your actions ultimately control your destiny. You need to have that person supporting you who can find those gaps. Okay? Now, if you've been experiencing patterns of self-sabotage behavior for years, don't try to do this alone. Don't think all of a sudden you're going to figure this out. You know the definition of insanity, right? Hope you know that one. You should write that one down or look that back up. Try and do the same thing the same exact way. You need an expert who's adept at finding the internal conflicts and applying corrective action. That's why you need me to kind of go back and forth with you here to make sure there's not certain internal communication gaps that are sabotaging efforts to move forward. Last shift here. Got to protect your energy from energy stealers, no matter how guilty they try to make you feel. Very, very massive. Think about it. We're creating all this energy, emotional states, all these incredible assets for you. Last thing you need is for an energy vampire to suck that right from you, okay? So there's a conventional wisdom out there, and I love conventional wisdoms. I love breaking them. And that conventional wisdom tells you to take care of others before taking care of yourself. That's not just complete garbage, but it's destroying your health. Think about it. Even on an airplane, they tell you if the air pressure drops and the masks fall down, who do you put it on? Who do you put it on first? Yourself or your kids? You. Because if you fall asleep, if you pass out, can't really help your kids, can you? It's that one time you got to take care of yourself. And you got to learn techniques, which I teach, to defend yourself from anyone who tries to suck that energy from you, even if they mean well. And how much time are you losing? I mean, you really got to write this down here. How much time are you losing every day, every week, every month explaining yourself to others? It's training. And you're wasting your energy that can be used elsewhere. Energy is life. And if you have no energy, you're dead to create your dreams, okay? Now, this is some massive stuff here. Most counselors and coaches will tell you concepts. They'll tell you to detach from the outcome and enjoy the ride, but they won't actually tell you how to do it from a practical standpoint. I was just speaking to a guy a few minutes ago. His coach is telling him, yeah, just detach from the outcome. I said to the guy, I'm like, isn't it funny that your coach actually doesn't tell you how to do it? Like a practical step-by-step sequence? You know why that is? They don't know how. The vast majority can't actually teach this to you, because if they did, you would not be listening to this here. The vast majority only teach the concept. They don't know the actual sequential steps to implement it. I've been teaching this for years. If you are truly defiantly committed to your outcome, working with you, transferring this to you is a no-brainer. It's a normal day for me, okay? But if your coach can't teach that to you, if they can't guarantee that outcome because they have the practical application, that's a problem. That's a very big red flag, okay? Here is a fact. Brain cells that fire together wire together. So wouldn't you like to learn a practical way to literally give yourself a biological upgrade so you can think and feel the way you want to think and feel? Emphasis on the word practical here. I'm sure you're tired of hearing concepts. You need to learn actually how to do it step by step. That's what this is all about, okay? Now, if you haven't done this before, and I'm sure all you successful entrepreneurs out there that I'm speaking to, all you busy men and women, you know this. Invest in mentoring. And a mentor is not your friend. It's not your family member. It's not someone at work. It is someone who's the best, the creme de creme, the person who has the proven track record, who's done this 1,000 times. Remember, if your mentor coach has not been trained in person by the best, that's a problem. If they've been trained by YouTube, that's a very big problem. You can't go beyond them. How many people has that person taught this skill to, transferred this skill to? One or two, their friends, or 1,000 people? Big difference there. Okay? And how quickly can they deliver this? If they can't give you a time frame, that's a problem. A mentor, a true mentor, a creme de creme mentor can be that one-stop shop and save you years of training, tens of thousands of dollars. Great mentor has the knowledge to teach numerous courses from a true position of authority, and they can specifically focus on what you're actually needing for your specific situation. This tool I've gone over with you today is that tool that will supercharge your love, health, and wealth. If you're stuck in your life, regardless of what that area is, this is that foundation. This is your rocket ship. This is the fuel for your energy and your emotional states. And you got that, you got everything. And very important, seminars, those are a one-size-fits-all approach. They're very expensive, they're time-consuming, and usually end by selling you a step two. This one tool is your one-stop shop. There is no part two here. And one great mentor is worth, I dare to say, 1,000 seminars, because the seminars, again, aren't giving you that personalized feedback mechanism. Someone's actually being that springboard for you. And I know just by coming on this webinar, you probably have a ton of new ideas. And you're probably getting kind of excited for the future. And you're also starting to understand why certain things have worked. But imagine what I could do for you if I was working with you, being that springboard, being that feedback mechanism, showing you those little 2 millimeters you're not quite seeing. Remember, you could play tennis 6 hours a day watching YouTube. Doesn't matter. You're not going to see those little mistakes. No one gets to the winner's circle by themselves. You need that feedback mechanism. So imagine, what could happen if I could do that for you, okay? Now, by the way, reading books again, watching videos, YouTubing your way to it, that will never get you to your true potential. And again, I've made this abundantly clear at this point. How do you know what you're doing? How do you know what you're doing right or doing wrong? And how do you know if you're interpreting the techniques properly? In the history of modern man, has anyone ever gone to Wimbledon, NBA championships, the top level performing arts, where that's the big screen or theater, which is communication, by the way? Has anyone ever got to the big show by themselves without a top-notch mentor? Of course not. Why is that? They didn't YouTube their way there. You got to start thinking of yourself as a professional athlete. Stop with the YouTube, stop with the books, get in that rocket ship, the mentor, the top performers in the world. This is Tony Robbins 101, by the way. Mentorship, modeling. The top performers in the world all work directly with top performers. They're not YouTubing their way there. Books and videos don't offer that feedback. Top athletes don't read their way to the big show. And only a feedback mechanism from a true expert can tell you if you're doing it right. Okay? Mentors can be that one-stop shop and save you years of pain, just years of problems. You're not going to be on this earth forever. Time is that one thing that's that's finite for all of us. Don't you love yourself enough to give yourself the shortcuts? Aren't you tired of just trying to half bake your way to where you want to go? Just take that rocket ship with me, okay? The best mentors have already taken all the courses you need. They can make your life a hell of a lot easier. Why make your life harder than it has to be? And by the way, you should write this one down too. Most coaches that I coach, it's funny, these coaches, right? Like, they don't even know how to tell you how to really love yourself. I'll tell you how to love yourself, and you really need to write this down here. Talk is cheap. Taking care of yourself, accepting yourself, that takes no courage. Whatever. You know what takes courage? Investing in yourself, a real investment, something that's scary. Because if everything else is a bunch of talk. It takes no effort to watch this free webinar here. It doesn't. I'm sorry. You press the play button. I'm not impressed, and you shouldn't be impressed either. What does take investment? Say, you know what? Clearly, I'm missing a skill, and I deserve this skill, and I want this skill, and I want the best life. And hell, I'm going to pay for the skill. I'm going to take the time to do the skill. I love myself, believe in myself enough to invest in myself. That's real love, because everything else is a bunch of talk. Don't forget that. Now, today, I promise a few things here. One, how to get unstuck within minutes, regardless of the challenge you're experiencing. You now know it's possible. You also know why what you've tried has not worked. You understand the fallacies, why there are inherent flaws in what you've tried before. I've also promised how to reinvigorate and supercharge all areas of life. Doesn't matter why you're stuck. From a biological standpoint, you just need that upgrade. Okay? It doesn't matter what the source is. Also, how to get your confidence back, how to stop self-sabotage, how to reduce stress and get your health back on track. Think about it. If happiness is a skill, and I show you that skill, and you're living the emotions, the resourceful emotions 80, 90% of the time, rather than feeling negative, stressed, overwhelmed, don't think for a second that doesn't have an adverse effect on your health now. So what if I shift that from the stresses to feeling great? Don't you think that's going to have an incredible benefit on your health? And we talked about how to get the energy to push forward towards your goals and dreams and take your life to the next level. You guys are very successful people. Let's do it. Let's take it to the next step. Also talk about why the advice you've been giving hasn't been working. I busted a ton of conventional wisdoms that frankly aren't serving you and will never get you to where you want to go. And you now understand why. You understand the flaws in those thoughts, and why you need to start thinking of yourself as a professional athlete in the sport of life. Professional athletes don't go to local pro for advice on how to beat a pro. They go right to the source. They go to the very best. That's Tony Robbins 101 here. And lastly, I introduce you to a daily practice via the 5 shifts that can energize you every day on command, even if right now you're living in the emotional Groundhog Day of pain and are stuck. Here's what you need to win. 1, learn the skill to make yourself happy. You know it is a skill. It's not a concept. Even Justin Bieber is depressed, right? This is something that needs to be wired in, conditioning. It's a conditioning, okay? 2, don't let your brain fall asleep at the wheel. You understand why that happens, okay? 3, use the 3 pillars or the last 3 shifts. Inspired energy is a skill. It's not something you have to hope for. How you communicate yourself is the ultimate communication. It is the driver for how you communicate with others. And if you thought otherwise till now, well, congratulations. Now you know the truth. And lastly, you have to have mechanisms in place to protect yourself from energy stealers, no matter how guilty they try to make you feel. So you guys, you now have a choice. You can choose to go back into the matrix and let the emotional matrix, the prison of the emotions of stress. You can let that run your life, and you can continue to go back into your world of being stuck, Or you can now decide to run the matrix, live in a resourceful state, not just understanding, embracing, and learning the practical application of what is possible so you can live as you deserve in the states of joy and happiness, because happiness is progress at the right pace, at an enjoyable pace. And so you could continue to how things have been going, let your body be the master, live on autopilot, oblivious to your power, or you can retake control of your mind and start bending and breaking the rules of what's possible and enjoy your life and live life on your terms, the way you want to be, feel, and body every single day. So here's how I can help. I've set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how I can apply these practices into your life starting today. And whatever your biggest challenges are, I've seen it and I know how to overcome it. I've worked with the best. I've been doing this for years. I've worked with over 1,000 people. For me, this is just another day at the office. If you were divinely committed to your outcome and you understand why you'd want to work with a mentor and you want to get this done in a very clear amount of outcome, it's a no-brainer for me and it'll be a no-brainer for you. Okay, on this session, now I want to be clear here. If you've been having this problem for a while, this is not going to fix it in one session. I'm going to show you the roadmap. I'm going to develop the roadmap for you. We'll work to craft a step-by-step game plan to get you out of being stuck, that emotional Groundhog Day, so you can supercharge your love, health, and wealth. Now, the cost is absolutely free, but just because it's free, it's not a freebie. This is for just a certain type of person here. If this is not you, do not make the call. This is for anyone who's tired of feeling stuck without an end in sight. This is for anyone who realizes how much this is costing them every day, emotionally, spiritually, socially, in every way, across the board, and knows they deserve to feel better than how they've been feeling. And they're not having a good go. They're not enjoying themselves. They're just stuck and overwhelmed. And they realize it's costing them, not just with the way they feel, but probably in their bottom line, the dollar, their pocketbook, even if not directly, indirectly. Because every day you show up as a shell of you, you're paying for it. This is for anyone who wants to fix this once and for all in 6 weeks to become their own practical psychologist. This is for anyone who's willing to take decisive action now. I am not interested in talking to dabblers. I'm interested in talking to those who are willing to take decisive, inspired action now. This is for anyone who's willing to show up and do the work. This is not easy. This is not a magic trick. I'm going to show you that process. It's 30 minutes a day, every day, rain, shine, your birthday, doesn't matter. This isn't a magic trick here. And then that's why you got to really want it. You have to be decisively committed to your outcome. And this is for anyone who is tired of blaming, making excuses, and is ready to take ownership of their life. It is not your partner's fault, whether it's on business, relationships, it's not anyone, your family, your friend. It's within you. When you feel freaking amazing, when you're happy, I'll tell you a little secret in life here. Happy people don't argue. When you feel freaking amazing, like you just won the lottery, everything just rolls off. And if you're having problems now, that's because you're missing something. It's not them, it's you. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. The whole call will be about you. Okay? Now, if this is you, if this all resonates to you, book a session now. Here's where you're going to want to go. refocusonhappiness.com/now. That is refocusonhappiness.com/now. Spaces are limited. Sign up now. Take that application very, very seriously. If you do not fill out that application, there's going to be an application that you're going to fill out after you fill out your time slot. If you do not fill out an application, I cannot speak to you. If you can't take the time to fill out an application, clearly this is not that important to you. And I'll wait for you to be so sick and tired of what you've been dealing with. That's when you and I will work. So fill out that application. Let me know and let yourself know that you are serious, okay? And that's my first indicator of how serious you are about this, okay? So take a picture of the screen, write the URL down because it's about to disappear. Anyway, very great having you here today. All the best. Remember this before I let you go, though. If you've been thinking about this for a while, write this down. Time is not your friend. A sense of urgency is. You've been stuck for months or years. This is your come to Jesus moment, so to speak, okay? So hopefully we'll speak soon. All the best. Take care.